freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your recap episode for this week's Scottish Open. Greg, just say the line.
What a week.
Wow, what a week, Greg. Here. Hello, Greg.
Hello, boys. This was rather exciting. So I had a great time. I mean, you didn't even need coffee this morning. I'm all fired up.
All fired up. Patrick McDonald is here. Patrick, good morning.
Greg, I could not agree with you more. And as a lifelong Rory McIlroy fan, since the Thursday episode, Rick, this just adds so much more to next week.
Absolutely, it does. Kyle Porter is here. KP. Oh, man, as if we needed anything else to get us more excited about the Open Championship.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary. I was. It's crazy that it's over. It's like 9 a.m. where I am, and I'm like done with my day. But it was a really great sort of lead in to like. I told my wife last night, I got to get up at like 3:45 tomorrow and to figure out what's going on. And it felt like round zero of the Open Championship, which is fun.
It certainly did feel like round zero, Greg, because the wind was a howling. The forecast certainly came through, and we saw it in the scoring average, played nearly 2 strokes over par around the Renaissance Club, and we saw short putts getting missed. We saw balls getting batted out. We saw the guys play the elements today.
Oh yeah, which was really cool. You saw some crazy club selections. You know, like 4 irons from 155. Which is really cool to see. So this was, you know, I think if Mark Immelman were here, he'd call it a proper round of Scottish golf.
Sure.
You know, that's what it looked like today. And it was challenging, but it's cool because it's such a different type of challenge than when a U.S. Open is really hard, you know, and the greens are really slick and it's kind of fearful in that way. It's very different because the greens are slow. And so the ball isn't like running off of your target in the same way. It's just really hard to hit those targets. So it's a cool challenge. It's a unique challenge. Sometimes I wish you could create that on, you know, every time we went to a links course.
Well, it's a great point, Craig, because the flip side of that, and we've seen this at a lot of Opens, even recently, Royal St. George's, at times St. Andrews, where it's like, well, if the wind's not up, then it becomes pretty easy, you know? And so it's a really, like, it's so dependent on the wind in that if it's up, it's the best type of golf to watch and to determine a champion by. But if it's down, it's not bad. It's just, it's not very good, you know? And so it is so wind dependent. And I'm with you. Maybe I tweeted this. Maybe the Public Investment Fund can figure out how to artificially create wind, and we can get some just some huge fans blowing in future events.
Why not?
Probably can. Patrick, Rory McIlroy hit a drive today that went 428 yards, the longest of his career. He also hit one that went 253 yards.
Hell yeah.
Just depends on what direction you're headed in.
Well, the 253-yard drive set up the 200-yard 2-iron as well, which was, oh my God,
Juicy.
Not safe for work. I don't think Josh will be ever allowed to show that on this podcast without
we have the video.
a warning clip of some sort.
Well, there's your warning right there, because I think we're about to show it.
Yeah, just show this.
That is a bullet.
Oh, look at this. Sensational.
I don't think it got over Adrian Maronk's head.
Good.
That's a good one.
6 feet 6 inches, Adrian Maronk.
But like Greg said, the wind out there, and to Kyle's point as well, we've kind of just not gotten a true links test the last 2 Opens, and then COVID, obviously, there wasn't an Open Championship. Shane Lowry's was kind of cool because it was just gnarly out there at Portrush. So today was just like a good reminder of how fun links golf can be to watch. And I woke up at 3, 4 a.m. I checked Twitter and someone's like, Minwoo Lee just hit a pitching wedge 250 yards.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, did I have too many beers last night? Is this true? What's going on over there? You turn it on and, no one's making any types of putts. I think that's one of the more underrated aspects of links golf is just how difficult it can be to hole putts. And of all people today, holing putts on Sunday, it's Rory freaking McIlroy.
Of course it is. Well, before it was the Rory McIlroy show, Greg, it was the Robert MacIntyre show. And the Scot was looking to win his national championship for just the second time in the tournament's history, first since Colin Montgomery in 1999. A stellar Sunday 64 where he made what at the time was maybe the shot of the year, up 18 after spraying one off the tee. I think we have that clip as well.
That's come out fantastically well.
Oh my goodness, what a shot. One of the best shots of the year in golf right there.
Mark Immelman with a appearance on the pod there. This was the birdie on 18, Greg, that looked like it could seal the deal for him.
This was so cool. I mean, when he hits that shot, there were a couple things. One, the bogey at 16, and then misses the green at 17, and then that tee shot at 18. And when you put those things together, this feels like it's leaderboard gravity. Like all of a sudden, this is too good to be true in his mind, and it's slipping away from Bobby Mack, and then draws a break, and he was very thrilled to see that, because I mean, you can't tell where that could be in who knows what kind of lie you draw hitting it that far offline, and he gets a great break and then takes advantage of it again with a fairway wood from 200 yards, which is cool in itself. But the shot's just spectacular. So look, I think that takes a lot of courage, because things weren't really going well, and all of a sudden he kind of bounces right back and looks like he's going to win. He looks like he's going to win in regulation. I mean, with the holes that Rory McIlroy had to play, with the difficulty of 17 and 18, it did not look like, or you could easily see somebody playing those holes very well and not making a birdie.
Yeah, he won't admit it, Patrick, but I wonder if we got a little truth serum in Robert MacIntyre. Like, how comfortable were you feeling watching this thing unfold? Because I think I would feel pretty comfortable. The 17th and 18th are playing combined, stroke over par. Rory's got to go, birdie par, at least gives you a chance in a playoff. If he goes birdie, you lose, but that's super unlikely. If I'm Big Shot Bob, I'm feeling pretty cozy in there.
The numbers were on his side, especially when Rory missed that 7-footer on 16.
Yeah,
I thought that was it.
So I was certain it was it.
Me too.
And even Rory said after, he goes, I just wanted to, I thought if I somehow made birdie on one of the last two, that would be a bonus. So even in Rory's mind, maybe that released some pressure or whatever, because his approaches into the par threes before that were atrocious. He kind of made up for one on the downhill 114 and connected on that 40-foot bomb. But on the front nine, they were so bad, way, way, way offline, 20, 30, 40 yards offline at some point. So when he needed to, he stepped up and hit, the 5-iron was his best approach at that point, and then obviously the 2-iron later. So, yeah, Bob MacIntyre probably felt pretty damn good in the clubhouse, even though it was the one kind of scary figure that had the opportunity to chase him down. But like Greg said, despite all the heroics, despite all the great shots, the bogey on the par 5 16th, he's probably going to think about it somewhat. Even though 18 was so sick, he didn't even hit in a bunker or anything. He just made a sloppy bogey on a par 5 late.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bogey on that, you're right, Patrick. That bogey, even as you were watching it, you're like, that is just, I know it's windy, but he didn't hit it in a terrible spot, and it just, I don't know. It just was not a very good bogey. I will say real quick, Rick, his disposition changed whenever Rory hit the 5-iron into 17, because they were showing him he's like drinking water, chumming it up, and then Rory hits it to 5 feet on 17, and they cut to him, and he's got this like 1,000-yard stare, like, yeah, I know the field average is 1 over, but Rory's not the field average, and I think that it kind of hit him at that moment of like, oh yeah, this is not quite over yet.
I'm about to get the Rory buzzsaw right now. In one more edition of golf tournaments are very hard to win, Greg, Robert MacIntyre beats everybody in this field by 4 shots except one guy named Rory McIlroy, who goes birdie, gains 3 shots on the last 2 holes to swipe your national championship away from you. Golf is very, very sick.
It's so hard to win. I mean, and you think even for Rory McIlroy, like you have to finish like that because MacIntyre shoots 64 in those conditions. He shoots 64. I mean, I did say yesterday there was 5 under would be out there today. I didn't think that 6 under would be out there, and it really should. He should have shot 63. I mean, I'll give you should make 5 at 16.
It was the round of the day by a mile, so there was a 64. He shot a 64. Corey Connor shot a 66. There was 167, and then that's it. A couple of 68s.
There was only 13 guys under par, and 4 of them were at 1 under. So it's, I mean, yeah, that's extraordinary. I thought there was, the one thing I was thinking about down the stretch, Rick, is, and I said this on HQ, there was so much irony to me if you look at the last probably 15 months, the person in golf that's probably had their heart broken the most is Rory, right? When you look at the Old Course last year, you look at the US Open this year, there's, just been a bunch of different things that have happened. And now he is going and I like, listen, a Rory win is always fun and good. It was hard to root against Bobby MacIntyre. If you're Bob MacIntyre, he's a good pro. He's not an elite pro. He's not a great pro. He's probably not going to win multiple majors. Probably won't ever win one major. Just statistically, the odds are against you. To win your national open by shooting 64 on the final day with that shot at the last, like, of all the ones that Rory could have won, this was not the one that you necessarily wanted him to win based on how everything kind of played out leading up to that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. Well, Patrick, it was a pretty flawless second 9 for Rory McIlroy. He played that back half at 4 under 31, including the pair of birdies that we discussed on 17 and 18 to win this thing in regulation. And now it is full steam ahead to Hoylake.
He went from 2 back to tied with MacIntyre in like a blink of an eye. And me and Kyle were chatting a little bit about 13, the drive bowl par 4 that's downwind. We saw Scottie Scheffler almost chip in for eagle there. Tom Kim did as well alongside Rory. And it had that front pin where I don't care who you weren't getting a wedge close. Like the best people were doing were like maybe 25, 30 feet. And I thought personally Rory needed to go for it. But at that point, he had only hit 1 fairway. And the driver did betray him a little bit. That birdie on 11, he got bailed out, kind of like Bobby Mack did on 18, where he drew a great lie, was able to hit a wedge to 3 feet and convert.
Was that the one he hit way out to the right, Patrick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lost a couple way right off the tee on Sunday.
Yeah, so it looked like he just wasn't really comfortable. He didn't have his best stuff. And when you're as good as Rory McIlroy, sometimes you don't need your best stuff to win golf tournaments. So for me, he mentioned earlier in the week that he hadn't really played in these type of conditions in a while. And it showed on the front 9 there. But for him to battle back and show resolve like he did, as a lifelong Rory McIlroy fan, I could not be more excited to be.
Get Patrick off this podcast. Just get out of here.
On this train with you guys. I said he needs to win the Scottish Open to win the Open. Step 1 is complete. Step 2 is about to be completed. And I think we would all agree the next major championship has to come somewhere else outside Augusta.
Yes.
It's sick that Patrick has no Rory McIlroy scar tissue built up. He's 1 for 1. Right? He's like, I don't get what you guys are so worked up about all the time, right? This is easy. Rory always wins. I don't see the problem.
See,
yeah, it's been just a straight thrill ride for Patrick.
This is the big question for me. Like, I've heard this point a lot, that he's got to win one before he wins at Augusta. But let's play the hypothetical game. He wins at Hoylake. He's got to go from July to April with just one tournament in mind. Does it raise the pressure? Like, what?
But that's every year. That's not like different, right?
Right. So does the win just show Rory something that, he still can win a major? Because I separate Augusta National for him. I don't think it matters what he does. If it's good, then the pressure rises. If it's bad, there's always the pressure for Rory at Augusta National. It just mounts every year.
But I think what Patrick is saying is that the next major win will come you're not saying that he will, like, winning another major will unlock Augusta, right, Patrick?
Correct. I'm saying number 5 will come somewhere outside of Augusta, Georgia.
Yeah.
And if he gets to 6, he gets to 6. Who knows where that comes?
That's fair. And I agree, because I think there's a strong case to be made that he might never win at Augusta National. Right. And I do think he'll win another major. So I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I think I can't believe we're talking about Rory at the Masters right now, but I think you get, like, 2 real shots at winning Augusta for the rest of your career. And if it happens, it happens. And if not, then, I mean, it's just, and this is the beautiful thing about what we're heading into. You mentioned it, Greg. There's only 4 of these. If you're an elite, if you're like one of the best players of all time, you only get 20 shots at winning the Masters, 20 chances, right? Maybe 25. But those are like the best players of all time. If you're just a regular player, you get like 3 or 6 or whatever.
Right.
And that's why the Open, like, there's not another major for 9 months. That's why it's so compelling, because so much of what happens over the next 7 days, 8 days, including today, is like, there's so much tension because there's so much history riding on it. And, we live in this world where it's like, there's this onslaught of just stuff, there's excess content, everything. And the majors, there's only 4, and there will only ever be 4. And I think that's a really kind of beautiful reality, and is just, it's such a fun thing, I think, to think and talk about.
You think there will only ever be 4 majors?
Yeah. The cold takes people are going to just destroy me if once Yasser makes the Players a major championship.
Or like Live Jeddah is now your 5th major or whatever.
Sure. Why not?
Real quick, KP, I'll bounce this back to you, because I know you remember this, and I think you wrote about it as well. The 14th hole in LACC on Sunday, Rory gets gusted and hits it into the front bunker. It plugs, he takes relief, et cetera, makes bogey. It's over. Was not going to get gusted on Sunday. At least on the last hole, backed off his ball a couple times. He seemed to be much more in tune with, I'm going to wait until I have my window here, and then I'm going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, he did that. He did that a lot. He even did it on some putts. He did it kind of all over the place. He seems like, look, he didn't hit it that great, especially on the front 9 on Sunday, but he seems pretty dialed. Like, he seems very confident. He seems very in control of what he's doing. And you think about all the things that go into winning a major championship, and being in control mentally of kind of what you're doing and what you're trying to do is right up there. That can be such an advantageous thing. And he really seems to be, I mean, the last two shots he hit, the last two full shots that he hit, Rick, I guess besides the drive on 18, we were talking before we came on, that shot he had to hit into 17 was like, we saw Bobby Mack hit a pretty decent shot in terms of distance control into 17 and just shoots off the back into kind of the rough area. Rory had to like kind of draw. It looked like a draw. I couldn't tell totally based on the camera angle, but it looked like he had to draw a 5-iron in there and let it feed down into that hole, which is just such a sick shot. And then Patrick already nearly passed out about the 2-iron on 18. That's an extraordinary golf shot. Like those two shots to me, you talk about the mental side, but physically, I think sometimes people wonder, like, why do you guys talk about Rory? Like, what's the deal with Rory? Like the 2-3 finish today with 5-iron and 2-iron in hand. That's why we talk about Rory. That is the reason. Like, he has some gifts that not a lot of other guys have under the pressure of winning a PGA Tour event late on a Sunday.
15 under par, Sunday 68. Rory McIlroy back in the winners column just a day before we start Open Championship week. Patrick, do you want to talk about Rory's chances to make the Ryder Cup team?
Well, he's going to have to skirt past Yannick Paul in the world.
And Padraig.
And Padraig, obviously. But I guess every week we kind of just bring up a new name. Is Bobby Mack under consideration? He does have the win at Marco Simone last year in a playoff over, I believe it was Fitzpatrick.
Correct.
So is he getting the nod here, or what's going on with him?
His numbers are not good. Like whether you like strokes gained or major finishes or whatever, like there's just nothing there that to me indicate. I mean, maybe it's different if he wins today. Although on the broadcast, they were like Jim Nance and Frank Nobilo, I think it was Frank Nobilo, were talking as if like, oh, if he wins, he's in. And it's like, maybe.
To be fair, they also mentioned during the week Brian Harman. They're like, oh, this feisty bulldog, watch out for him in Rome potentially.
I mean, if he might be vacationing in Rome in October, but he won't be playing there.
I mean, Bobby Mack's played some nice golf on the DP World Tour this year.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that's sort of the point, right? It's like he's played some nice golf on the European Tour.
Yeah.
What does that get me?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are you choosing from here? Like,
well, that's the argument.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you have a guy like that who's played well, and then has a moment like this, a win goes a long way, right? All of a sudden, the tied fourth in his last start. He had 3 straight top 10s. I guess that was back in April. But there's some streaks of really nice play, and when you add a win on it, it all of a sudden looks a whole lot better. So yeah, I mean, a great week at the Open would really help. He's played all right in majors. I think he's played in 9 majors, and he made 8 cuts, 2 top 10s.
Started 8 for 8, right?
He's played 11 majors. He's started 10 for 10, and he just missed his first cut at the PGA Championship.
Real quick, 2 last things. One, how funny? Well, not funny if you're Bobby Mack, but Rory kind of accidentally making that putt on 18, thought he missed the line, and it just drops, and you're like, this game is so stupid. Like, this is the dumbest thing in the world. And then 2, I thought it was interesting, Rick, because you and I started the week talking about, or I guess we all started the week talking about a bunch of senators on Capitol Hill screaming about non-disparagement clauses and PGA Tour China, and you're like, what's going on? Like, what sport do we cover? And it just there was such a soullessness, I thought, to the beginning of the week of just a bunch of stuff that I didn't get into the game to care about or cover. And yet at the end of the week, you get this like very wonderful duel between the homegrown kid and one of the greats of all time, with shot after shot after shot of just like, it was beautiful. And it was just, to me, that stark juxtaposition was, it was pretty awesome. And it was a nice, to me, palate cleanser leading into the Open Championship. I did want to ask Patrick real quick, like, where's your head at as the chief Rory stan on this, like, at this company, really? Where's your head at going into next week? Like, what are we feeling? 64 opener?
Ooh, I'm thinking. Well, I'm feeling great. We're 1-for-1 lifetime with Rory McIlroy conversions, 54-hole leads included, which is massive. He's a winner there, obviously, in the past. I don't think I could be any higher on his chances. I don't see a scenario in my models. I had Rick check them in my eye test where Rory McIlroy is not your champion golfer of the year.
This always goes well.
So
Flip
Rick
it.
checked the models. Who's checking the eye test?
Dr.
Mark.
Finley, my boy.
Oh,
It's eye doctor.
Shout out to him.
Oh,
Usually, Rick, when you're as high as you can possibly be on Rory excitement, it usually goes well, right?
it is
1-for-1.
cartoon character. It's
One for
what
one.
Wile E. Coyote who just steps on the rake and just like gets smacked in the face every single time.
I removed
This
the
is like-
hex on Thursday. I removed
This is
it.
this is like when my 8-year-old their youth baseball team opens with the worst team in the league and they win like 15-0.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's like Aaron Judge. And you're like, buddy, this is not going to go well. This is how I feel with Patrick right now.
And wouldn't it be poetic? Seb Max just had a great comment. 2013 Phil Mickelson goes Scottish Open
I
Championship.
said this, yes.
You said this too. Wouldn't it be kind of poetic for Rory to do it too?
It would be perfect.
Perfect.
2 for 2. Pencil it in.
Pencil it in. Listen, we're going to talk more about the 151st Open Championship here in just a few minutes, but we're going to put a bow on the rest of this Scottish Open, recap our best bets, our one and done. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
When you're the FedEx Cup champion, your name's on this trophy forever. This is our season-long race. This is the sought-after trophy when we tee it up, the first event of the season that you think about.
Three tournaments with the world's best golfers battling for the tour's toughest trophy to win, the FedEx Cup. The playoffs begin August 12th on CBS.
And we're back. All right, let's run through the rest of this real quick so we can get to Open Championship stuff. There was a moment, Greg, on Sunday where it looked like Tyrrell Hatton might be your Scottish Open champion, and he was in full Tyrrell Hatton mode. He goes out in 31. He's flying expletives. He's giving, there's a good shot of it. We've got middle fingers popping. We've got full on Tyrrell not taking his own advice of popping up his thumb when he's feeling glum, but fades on the second 9 and finishes T6.
Yeah, it was a disappointing fade. I mean, he made 6 at number 10. That's pretty disappointing, and that came from a poor tee shot into a bunker. And then he had a really long way home for his. I mean, look at this card. He has 3 6s on the back 9. Right, that's just extremely disappointing. A lot of it came on the greens. He had some very makeable putts, like you mentioned, Rick. We saw a lot of short putts missed. A lot of them came from Tyrrell Hatton, and while he also made some putts in there as well, the shorties just feel like they hurt the round and raise the frustration. So this was a brilliant start. I thought he was going to be the guy to go do what Bobby Mack did, which I was really looking forward to as he was on my betting card, and ultimately just faded. And it was pretty epic on 18.
Yeah, double bogey on 18 to solidify that 9 under par. Maybe a little disappointing for Tommy Fleetwood, Patrick, because he too made double on 18. He did not make anything but pars for his first 12 holes, and he didn't make his first birdie until the 16th. He was in the mix to start the day, and I think a lot of people, myself included, liked his chances, but 72, not going to get it done this time around.
He was just kind of hovering there on the front 9, like you said, 9 straight pars to begin his day. And then the first real head scratcher came on the 10th when he missed, I think it was 4 feet for birdie. And we've seen this from Tommy Fleetwood before. I would have loved him to win just because he could say he's a PGA Tour winner, but we could also say he's never won in the United States. So there would have been a nice little back and forth there for people to argue about, which I thought would have been very fun. But I think once he missed that putt on 10, the wind kind of came out of his sails. And then 14, you just can't really bogey that hole. We saw it with Hatton. He 3-putted that one from like 50 feet. He missed a short one. And that's kind of one of the last birdie chances you get. I know 16 is gettable, but you got to get a birdie there. You can't be dropping a shot there. And double bogey on the last, he was already out of it at that point. But he's humming into the Open Championship. He's been playing great golf as a whole, but kind of like Hatton, some of these Englishmen, man, can you trust him on the back nine on Sunday? Today was just another point saying, no, you can't.
Yeah, it's just the whole country. Can't trust any of them on the back nine on Sunday. Let's quickly check in on Scottie Scheffler this week. Scottie Scheffler back at it again. He was phenomenal from tee to green, but struggled with the putter. But no surprise, he's in contention for a victory. I might have to re-record a new
We need a Sunday version,
KP, that says like, oh, Scottie Scheffler again struggled with the flat stick, but finished T3, which is exactly what he did. A 70 around the Renaissance Club.
I mean, I went on I went on with Andy Johnson to talk about the Open Championship, the Fried Egg podcast. I think it's coming out Sunday or Monday or whatever. And I think both of us, our number one storyline, or not number one, but we both had in our top 5 storylines, Scottie cashing some of the great tee to green play that we've ever seen in the last, not ever, but in the last 25 years. Right. And he just, like, I don't know if you can pull this tweet up, Josh. It's my one about Scottie's tee to green rankings in his last 11 events. I can just read it. Bay Hill second, Players first, Masters second, Heritage. This was his worst one. 5th. This is from tee to green. Byron Nelson second, PGA first, Colonial first, Memorial first, U.S. Open third, Travelers second, Scottish Open second, which was today. And he's got 1 win in that time. Like, it's not a wasted season because you've won twice, you won the Players, and you're playing tremendous golf. But I think he'll look back on this era. Like, is he ever going to hit the ball better than this? Can a PGA Tour player even hit the ball better than this? And to not really be cashing in on it at the level that he wants has to be just really frustrating.
He's also made more money this season than anybody has ever made on a PGA Tour season. It has been 266 days, Greg, since Scottie Scheffler has finished outside the top 12 of a golf tournament. We've been saying it for nearly a year. I'm out of things to say. Scottie's the best tee to green player in the world. It's not particularly close. He's got a couple of wins to show for it. Probably feels like he should have a lot more.
And keep this up here, if you could, Josh, because look, this is the other thing that now when you add the Scottish Open into it, he missed the cut here last year. You see such a big variety in conditions and difficulty of the golf course, and styles of the golf course. I mean, you got big golf courses in Bay Hill and the Masters, the PGA Championship. You have some and Memorial in the U.S. Open. You have some shorter, more positional golf courses like the Players, where he obviously dominated, the Heritage, the Nelson, Colonial, and you add links golf into the mix in conditions like this, which was a really good ball striking day for him today too, not just all week, but it's so well rounded. It happens. He does it every week. I am running out of things to say, but the versatility of this game, like the ability to travel and perform anywhere, almost identical. I mean, they're like identical performances everywhere he plays. It's amazing to me, and I couldn't be more impressed. I agree with Kyle. He's got to cash in because it's going to feel like a disappointing year, even though he's going to make $100 million on the golf course and, lead at every single category and cemented himself as world number one, where are the trophies? It's a little thin. And I know he has 2, but that'll still feel disappointing.
All right. Well, Scottie Scheffler is going to be one of the favorites heading into next week. Let's chat about our best bets and our one and done real quick here. So, Josh, if you could show us the grid, that'd be splendid. Matchups, we were 2-1-1. Pushed Smalley over Norin, 1 Minwoo over Justin Thomas, 1 Rory over Scottie. Wow, Kyle, that was pretty scary of you.
Aggressive.
Plus money, baby.
Rory and plus money gets the job done. 2 finishing positions, Bjork top 40, Fleetwood top 20. Look at you, KP. Let's
go. I got to get out of this just hole that I'm in, just this Grand Canyon of a hole that I'm in. Rory over Scottie was. I probably shouldn't have done that. I got away with it, but Fleetwood felt more like that felt more likely. And if I can do it again next week at Hoylake, I'll do it again next week at Hoylake.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Let's see here. Nobody had Robert MacIntyre on their outright card. Probably no surprise there. Rory McIlroy. I just gave it to Robert MacIntyre because I was
MacIntyre either, but
nobody had him either.
Yeah, MacIntyre was 130-1 last night. And yes.
Well, I guess what was he 7 back?
He was a lot back.
5 wasn't he at
5?
He had 8. He was 5 back.
Yeah.
No respect.
5 back with everybody else in front, like those guys in front of you, and Rory in the lead. He was 130-1.
No respect.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Best bets 2 for 2. Romain Langesk obviously cashes his top 30. Greg with his Shane Lowry top 20. You, sir, are back in the black.
That's right. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We got to keep this up. Big move. Rick's extending his. Rick's making this profitable.
Let's go.
Well, yeah, for him, not for us.
Yeah.
Kyle, we'll get it back next week with Rory McIlroy first round leader.
I do feel bad because Patrick did try to take out a loan on Michael Block missing the cut, and we didn't let him do it. And he would have had, all of his future 50s. He'd be done, but he would have cashed that. So I am sorry about that, Patrick.
It's okay. Just a little bit of adversity here. We'll get back in the black by year's end. I'm positive of it. And like I said, I'm already hinting at a Rory McIlroy, hopefully 18-ish to 1 to be your first round leader.
That might be nice.
Will that be the number 18?
It's usually for those guys, it tends to be twice what their outright number is. So 18,
I think his outright is down to like 6 though.
Yeah, which makes me think you're going to get like a 12 to 14 ish.
I'll shop.
Shop it. Yeah.
You can't take out a loan, but you can shop for sure.
I'll shop.
See what's available. One and done. I don't think there was a ton of big money on the line.
I had Thomas closed in on Patrick for 7th.
Kyle and the fans had Tommy Fleetwood. KP, that was worth a cool $283,000.
Okay.
Cool with that?
Yeah. I mean, if you average that, you're probably going to win the you're going to win the league, right? Well, maybe not now with the elevated, but previously, if you average that, you would win the league.
Yeah. Patrick, Minwoo got you 42 G's.
I'm cool with that. I have no one left. So I had to pick Minwoo Lee. So I'm pumped for the FedEx Cup playoffs. I'll be rolling out Russell Henley, Corey Connors, flushers only.
Hell yeah.
And hopefully, Mark, he's making some nervous picks up there in pole position. That is not lost on me. This thing is not over.
We will get to that. Greg, you were lone wolfing it with Matt Fitzpatrick. He did not play the weekend. He is already in Hoylake, already checking out his locker next to his brother Alex. He has moved on. Have you?
Yes, I moved on late Friday morning. look, I wish the conditions were like this all week. I think that probably would have helped Matt Fitzpatrick a little bit. Although, I'm kind of like Patrick. I was in a little position. I didn't really have another great option to play. So I thought he was the best that I had available, and he stabbed me in the back.
Wow.
I'm just teasing. There's nothing. I mean, what are you going to do? I'm over it.
I need Mark to panic pick Rory at the Open because I need to use him. I need Rory to win me like $8 million at East Lake.
Mark might panic pick. We'll get there in just a second. Sia Nejad had Jordan Spieth $0. Kyle, quickly. Level of concern over Jordan?
No, nothing. It's the Open. We're fine.
Sure.
I have some.
You should, but I don't.
out of 10, Patrick. If 10 is absolutely terrified and 0 is no concern at all, what are you?
6.5.
Great.
I mean, you think back. Sorry,
I was just gonna. I don't. Just Greg, tell me what you are.
Wait, 10's max concern?
Yeah.
Look, there are reasons to be concerned, but I would say 4.
Kyle.
I mean, what?
No, I know, just a number.
For the Open, is this for the Open specifically?
Just in general.
Oh, in general?
Oh.
I don't know, 4. What is that what you said, Greg?
Yeah. But I'd probably up it. If I'm talking 4 for the Open. In general, I might go up to 6.
Well, I think there's a question of, and Andy Johnson again has been big on this. Like, what is Jordan Spieth? Is he a top 5 player in the world? Is he a top who is he? Because you get this effect at the beginning of your career where you win 3 majors and everybody thinks like, okay, this is an all-time great, including myself, and I think I still think that, but then it starts to level out and you're like, okay, is he what is he? Because I think what you think he is as a player determines how much concern you have for how he's playing right now.
There's a comment that says in general 9, but for the Open 0, which is probably
yes, yeah, totally,
probably a fair way to put it.
But this year has been pretty strange for him because at setups and courses where he should be thriving, like Colonial, I thought LACC was a great setup for him. And then you see this course as well. He's missed the cut at those 3 tournaments. And I know his Open resume is very, very good. He's first in a litany of different statistics since 2013. But ever since he tweaked his back at the Wells Fargo and then his wrist over that weekend, something's just been amiss.
Our 2 writers have used the words litany and juxtaposition in this episode. We are rocking and rolling with the.
Let's go, baby.
I had Shane Lowry, 168. Kyle M had Ricky Fowler, 27,000. But Mark had Ludwig Aberg and catches his 3rd consecutive 0. He has made a total of $47,900 in his last 4 starts. This is driving him crazy. He might do something crazy next week at the Open Championship.
You think it's in his head now?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know how seriously he takes this?
Yes.
He was thinking about it during the Bobby Mack call. He's probably thinking,
yep.
He gets done with the call and he's like, God, I should have taken Bobby Mack this week.
Yep.
Maybe I'll take him next week.
That would be a panic.
Is that what he's thinking?
But it's next week's so weird because it's your last opportunity to take. I'm going to take a live boy. I'm going to take Cam. It's your last opportunity to take the live boys. I don't know if he's got a plan for next week. We might be able to talk him into something just stupid.
We might.
He almost has too many options, I think, and it's going to his head.
If you got 2 quarterbacks, you got none.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take Tiger.
Who knows?
There is a Tiger in the field.
There is. I saw that. I did like a triple take when I saw that, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's jarring.
Yeah, it was very jarring. Okay, let's talk about next week. We're going to talk about next week. First, we're going to take a quick break. Hear a word from our partners.
In case you're new here, we're here to make history. We are more than the names on our back. We're the team on the front, the country on our shoulders, the city behind us, and the fire inside us. The best in the world. We got us. We don't just play the world's game. We run it.
And we're back. I'm going to do it. I'm going to officially declare us in Open Championship Week, the earliest I've ever done it. It is my time, 7:47 a.m. on a Sunday. There's still a PGA event to be played today. I don't care. I'm declaring it, Greg. I'm moving on.
It's time.
It's time.
I got to wait till Wimbledon's over. I've got Alcaraz and why doesn't, well, they're in the second set. Why doesn't Prince William shave his head?
Oh, you think he should give up on the hope already?
Just go full Brian Harmon.
Now I got to find what channel. No,
This seems like this seems like your wheelhouse, Patrick. Do you have any answers for the Prince William question?
I guess you could also ask Tiger that question as well.
Sure.
I agree with you. I think Van Pelt's been very open about his situation, and he went full shave. And I think you gotta make the leap. It's a scary one. It's a big one.
Yeah, you go. I mean,
right.
you could go full David Justice. Still look great.
It works. It works for some people too. So I'm with you. But I mean, do we want to talk about the royal family right now?
Why wouldn't we?
Okay. I mean, Meghan Markle. You guys see that Spotify deal? What happened there?
No, I didn't. But what I did see was I don't think she goes by Kate Middleton anymore. She has like a much more official name now, the Duchess of something.
Of Wales.
Okay. She did this bit for before Wimbledon where like she was being taught how to be a ball girl.
By Fed, right?
Federer, and yeah, like she's pretty good. She's got hands. She was catching balls out of the air, which you're not allowed to do, but she was good.
I think Fed should be the king of England.
I thought Tommy should be the king of England.
Well, Tommy is the king of England, but I'm saying that Fed should be.
He seems like a cool guy.
Who's the royal family of golf?
In what sense?
It's up to you.
Okay.
Well, Tiger.
Tiger is the king.
Just Tiger.
King. Patrick Reed is the jester.
I mean, Justin Thomas has got it. I mean, is he the prince first in line?
No, Rory's the prince.
I thought Rory was the prince. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Rory can be the prince.
Rory.
Yeah. Such benevolence from you, Greg.
Greg, are you on this bandwagon or not? Come on, Rory's the prince.
I forgot about Rory.
Yeah.
I thought MacIntyre won.
Bobby Mack is like he's like a I don't know what he is. He's like a page.
Who's the redheaded the son that's not in line to the throne?
Prince Ari.
So who's the Harry? I feel like just not really all that well left.
I feel like honestly that's kind of got to be P. Reed, and then Meghan Markle can be Justine.
Well, I was gonna say it's Cam Smith is Harry. He kind of just goes and does his own deal, and like he's still some people love him, some people hate him.
His family's kind of pushed him to the
ostracized. Yeah, I think it's Cam.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right. Well, listen, we're going to play an Open Championship. There, a week from right now, a claret jug will be handed to someone on the 18th green at Royal Liverpool. Maybe we'll start there, Patrick. Royal Liverpool, awesome. It's going to be very different than St. Andrews. I think it's going to be a very difficult driving test. Obviously, last time we were here, it was Rory who was getting that claret jug.
I look at that 2014 leaderboard, and another championship comes to mind immediately. And
U.S. Open.
No. He's gonna say the players.
Correct.
Yeah.
You see Cam, Rory, Ricky, Sergio, Jim Furyk that one year when
Adam Scott.
He battled Rory, Adam Scott as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's going to set up for a great championship. You have Cameron Smith, who we mentioned, He's playing great golf. He just won on Live Golf London. Scottie Scheffler's playing great, obviously, and Rory coming back. So I think the par 3 17th, that's the one big change. I think what's cool I read is one, Hoylake has identified great champions whenever it's hosted it, and it's never played the same. Something's always been different each time they've come back, and this time it's that par 3 17th, which I think with the tournament on the line, having an uphill wedge shot into a tricky par 3, it could make people look brilliant and it could make people look stupid. And it'll be a real test of nerves, especially with wind whipping around. Hopefully we get windy conditions. Long-term looks that way. And if that's the case, I think it will be a very memorable Open.
The 17th, Craig, is a brand new hole. And then they'll obviously play 18, which I think is the 5 back towards the clubhouse. But this is, I mean, there's so many different storylines. Obviously, Rory has injected another one. Yeah, we are going to get the Live guys for the last time. The fact that this is the last major championship that we're going to have until April, I mean, it's going to be a proper one.
Absolutely. And you think about, I mean, from the Live guys perspective, this is really your last chance to make a push for the Ryder Cup, right? You know, Brooks can cement himself on this team with a great performance, and some of the other guys like DJ and maybe Patrick Reed can put their name into the hat. So that's a very interesting storyline. I do like the champions that Liverpool has created. This is where Tiger hit only 2 drivers for the entire week in 2006. And the golf course offers a lot of opportunity for some strategy, right? Rory took a very similar strategy. This is the event he was watching at the U.S. Open, where he wasn't kind of wailing away at driver on every single hole. So it's very cool, a very unique style. One of the most, I think it's probably the 3rd most difficult event to predict, the Open Championship, because of weather.
Behind the players and what?
The match play.
Oh, yeah.
The match play is probably the first, but it has something to do with the golf course.
Yeah, I think what you're saying checks out, Greg, because I was going back and looking at just who's finished in the top 10 over the last 5 years, and nobody's done it, or over the last 5 Opens. So it goes back to, I think, 2017 when Spieth won at Birkdale. Nobody's done it 5 times. Only Spieth has 4 top 10s. Rory and Brooks have 3. DJ, Kuchar, Bobby Mack, Fleetwood, and Finau have 2. And then 32 guys, including Tiger, have 1. And I guarantee you, if you looked at the last 5 years of PGAs, US Opens, and Masters, you wouldn't get as many names in that 1 top 10 category. You'd get there would be more consistency in terms of guys who, like, you'd have a couple of guys that finish in the top 10 all 5 times, and more guys that did it 4 times than 3 times. So I think that sort of checks out with what you're saying there, Greg.
Yeah, it's just so variable. It's so random in a good way. And it's different. Like the wedge shot at 17, the wedge shots on links golf play so much different, right? The ball responds differently on the greens. The yardages that you're trying to land it are just different. The shots that you hit around the greens, the bunker shots are a totally different test. And I think that aspect is really cool and creates a great Open.
Outside of Rory McIlroy, Patrick, what's one of the more interesting winning storylines here, right? Is it a first timer of Xander, Victor, Cantlay? Is it Morikawa getting a 3rd major? Like what are some paths to some really good outcomes?
It's hard to look past Brooks Koepka, in my opinion. I know he already won the PGA Championship, but every time he tees it up in one of these, he has another chance to just cement himself as one of the greatest champions of all time. And if he were to win this one, well, next April, he'll have a chance at the career Grand Slam. So I think for me, it's Brooks Koepka. I think Cameron Smith has a very real chance to go back-to-back. We haven't seen that since Harrington. Rory obviously couldn't defend his at St. Andrews after a little kickabout situation in 15. So I think those two players, those two storylines are the biggest for me. And I actually really like what Greg said regarding the Ryder Cup. If somehow, Bryson DeChambeau is playing some great golf right now, I think Hoylake could be a great fit for him. Taylor Gooch as well. How could we forget about him? Live Golf Andalucia champion. And I think Dustin Johnson's form is flying very much under the radar.
Yeah.
And for a U.S. team that is not as strong that it looked 6 months ago, someone with his experience and just going 5-0-0 at the Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits, I think, Dustin Johnson's talent in general, I think deserves more than 2 major championships. And for him to cash in on one in this type of form, I know they're all live boys, but they're also some of the more intriguing guys in professional golf.
I think Cam going back to back, right? Because it hasn't happened since 07-08 with Patty, who might be on the Ryder Cup team. And he's somebody that it's hard to properly evaluate the live guys, just as it's sometimes hard to properly evaluate how somebody's playing on the European tour, and then they come into like a bigger event with all the best players, and you're like, I don't really know. But Cam, top 10 at the PGA, top 5 at the US Open, and he's been top 12 in his last 8 starts overall worldwide. And he's playing really, really good golf. And this is a major that seemingly would fit him better, just because you don't have to be really like long and straight off the tee necessarily. Now there's some holes at Hoylake. You think about the internal OB hole, I think it's 3, where you do have to employ some accuracy off the tee, but man, he's just the defending champ playing great golf. I think he's a fascinating storyline going into next week.
Yeah, 3 is going to be fun. Josh, if you want to, how do I share? Okay. If you want to share my screen, this is that internal OB where you've got, there's literally just a wall here, and you have to decide how much you want to take off, Greg.
That's sick.
The corner's 240. This one here is 300. And the more you bite off, the further you got to hit it.
Which one is 300? The furthest right?
Third one.
Okay.
That's like to the middle of the fairway. So that's the line for middle of the fairway, basically.
It's fascinating. It kind of has there's something different about OB than water, but it's not dissimilar to some of the holes. They're usually on the other side, like 18 at the Players, where it's water up the entire side. You got to decide how much you want to bite off. It creates intrigue, and somebody's going to make a big mistake there. No question about it. But I think of how's Rory McIlroy going to play that hole. The patient, even though he has plenty of club head speed to take it over all of that, I could see Rory laying back there, playing to the wide side. It seems like there's definitely a smart way to limit risk strategically. But a lot will depend too on the conditions, and this decision may be made for you. Given, if it's straight downwind, you're going to hit driver.
Yeah.
And all that goes out of play. So we'll see what we get conditions wise.
Conditions. We're all going to play meteorologist for the next handful of days. We're going to have plenty more conversation around the 151st Open Championship. But before we get out of here, gents, any final thoughts on the Scottish or the Open or anything else?
John Rahm might be in shambles with all this internal OB, the king of TIO.
The TIO king. I haven't picked Rory for a major this year. I genuinely think he's going to win by like 5 next week. Like, I really think that. Which
I hope it's really firm, and I hope it's just bouncy.
It doesn't look that way, right? I mean, like in pictures and videos, it looks green.
I think they've gotten a lot of rain.
Yeah.
I hope that that's just an error from the pictures and videos.
Some color, yeah.
I want it to look like 06.
Some hue issues.
Just brown. You remember what this golf course looked like in 2006?
Go around.
Adam Scott would blend in.
Go around the room. I made an early pick. This doesn't have to be your official pick. Just which way are you leaning right now? Unofficial. Scottie. Yeah. Hell yeah. That would be awesome.
Okay. For the sake of being a little different, I mean, I'm all aboard the train. Don't get me wrong. But my unofficial pick is Dustin Johnson.
That would be awesome too. Oh, that would be sick.
I hate it because I thought it was going to be Rory, and then he won the Scottish, and now it feels like I'm just chasing my tail. I'll tell you what, Rahm, you have to drive it. You have to. I think it's Rory or Rahm. You have to drive it. Scottie.
Hedge City over there.
Who's the best driver in the game?
It's Rory.
Ludwig.
But you don't have to do the thing where he won the week before, so you can't pick him.
Yeah, I pick Rory.
I will say this happened to me back in, I think it was 2019 when I was all over Bernd Wiesberger, and then he won the Scottish, and it ruined it for me.
But Rory can go. I don't know if Bernd can go back to back, but Rory can.
Yeah, I think winning it's not he's playing so well that it's more of a boost to his confidence than anything else. It doesn't do a lot for me of like, oh, that he peaked and now he's going to fall off. I just don't know that that's the case.
I think it's a bit of a morale thing. He had so many close calls this year, and he hadn't won on the PGA Tour since October. So to kind of see one fall his way finally, he's got to be feeling really good. And I said he's got to win the Scottish to win the Open. So 1 for 1, soon to be 2 for 2.
You're the National Open king,
prognosticator.
Me and Rory, we're just picking them off one by one by one.
He's got so many National Opens.
He's taking over the world.
Everyone, like every single one.
Yeah, he has
Scottish, Irish, US, Canada twice, Australia, and then the Open.
All right, gents. I think that'll do it. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, next week, final major championship of the year. Soak it all in. Big thanks.
Can't wait.
Josh does all the hard work behind the scenes. Patrick McDonald is available on Twitter at Amateur Status. Greg DuCharme is available at The Real GFD. And Kyle Porter can be found at Kyle Porter CBS.
Let's go Alcaraz.
You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.